Okay, so welcome Dr. Awan to Dev Talks. We're going to host a brief interview about your work as a CEO for Lawyers for Human Rights and Legal Aid. And our first question for you is about when LHRLA was formed, and was it your individual initiative, or did you have any fellow workers or travelers?
जी जी
Manur, we were like growing at the time when Pakistan was facing the worst martial law in the country. It was the worst one, the worst dictatorship of Jawlak. And I was a student, and then I joined some student uh, associations, federations, which were left oriented, and we were taught all the things that what is happening, and and the political philosophy which I followed was the left one. So then we were struggling against the martial law in Pakistan, and at that time, as there was a worse martial law, so I was a student leader at that time in Karachi University, and I went 3 times in prison, Zawlak's time, uh, and I saw the condition of jails and prisoners and overall situation in Pakistan, that how Pakistan was going downwards. So then, after my studentship, when I finished, so I joined the legal profession because that was my aim to do something. And as a legal professional, I was committed from the beginning that I'll be working for the people who have no voice. And that was like we were very mature, although the some political parties like even Benazir Bhutto directly offered me central committee membership in her party. But we were so mature at that time because we were going through all the political philosophy and the system. So because of maturity, I thought that these are not the political parties which I'm looking for. And finally, I did not join any political party, but because I was coming from a lower middle class family, so I thought that my rescue and my aim should be that I should develop myself first as a legal professional and then do whatever I think about it. So then that's why I did my practice sometime, and then start looking at my avenues, that how I can be more, because there was very limited scope of learning in Pakistan about human rights or legal aid or other rights people were having and not enjoying. So then, can you hear me? Huh? Hello?
Yes, yes,
yes
Hello?
we
yes
can
we are
listen.
hearing you. Yes,
Hello?
yes, please
Okay.
continue.
Okay. So that's why at that time, there was no internet, no website, nothing. See, even these all new gadgets were not there. But I tried to get some scholarships. I went to Institute of Social Studies in Holland to do my diploma, where also it was on the social studies and all that, which was very relevant to my work. And then I choose to go to Philippines. At that time, I knew that in the Philippines against the Marcos, there was a big struggle, and 7 lawyers were killed by Marcos because of the reason that they become threat for the government, the dictatorship. So I was having hope that I should be following this. But before that, I must tell you that when I was a student leader in Karachi University, the Hussein Haqqani, now he is in US and he was ambassador. So he was the president of the Karachi University. And he brought the criminal elements, and they start firing on us. We were having a procession, and I got a bullet shot on my leg. And I was admitted in the hospital, and all the political parties, everyone, you just name anybody, Wali Khan, Asghar Khan, Bazinjo, or I don't know whether you know the names of these people. Sherbaz Mazari, Benazir Bhutto, everybody except Jamaat Islami. And Jamaat Islami lodged a complaint against me because that was their era, and they were supporting Jawlak, so everything was in their hands. So I went to prison. Because of that, I got a bullet shot, but I went to prison for 6 months. So
So
that was
Zia,
all
should I
injustice
add
which I faced.
that Hussain Haqqani was president of Karachi University Students' Union, right?
Ji, ji, ji,
Okay.
ji, ji, of the
Okay.
Islami Jamiat Talaba,
Yes,
of the
yes.
Islami Jamiat Talaba.
Yeah.
Okay. So then what happened that I continued my struggle and I got my relevant education outside, and I went to Philippines. I learned that how to do work on how to develop paralegals for struggle. So paralegal training I started in Pakistan first time. There was no paralegal at that time, and I started. It was a long course, but we were shortened, and then I did some paralegals for the trade union mid-level leadership, and looking at that they should be including the women into there because after doing some work on the prisoner, then I thought that I should be working for the women and children issues because they are very very naive and they were not having any right, and Pakistan was worst in that. So I started working on violence against women and children and gender-based violence. So that was my then focus remained there. And then I started picking up cases at Ziaulak's time for free legal aid. I did some cases on stoning to death, and then some cases which even Pakistan television portrayed a drama series where Talat Hussain has played my role, very famous artist. So then
Yeah.
I was heading towards making an organization. So as I was working mostly with Abdul Sattar Idi on these cases, and he was supporting me in a way that if I need uh, bail bond for the prisoners or women prisoners, they were not having anybody. And then my focus was at that time against the Hudud Ordinance because Hudud Ordinance was very discriminatory law under which a lot of people, you see, like they are being discriminated, women especially and children. So I was focusing on those cases, and only Abdul Sattar Idi was supporting me in that he was coming to the court and depositing the bail money on my behalf, on my request for those people, and that was my like initial bridging with Abdul Sattar Idi, and then I thought that I should be making the organization for legal aid. So we were going
Okay.
around to talk to lawyers, and I collected a lot of people to do this work. And then finally, we launched an organization called Lawyers for Human Rights and Legal Aid in 1989. Although I was working since maybe 1986 or before that even, but 1989 formally we developed LHRLN. I was having some friends with me, lawyers friends, and support of Abdul Sattar Idi, and also the CPLC, Citizen Police Liaison Committee at that time. They were also like emerged as an organization in the Governor House, where Fakhruddin Ibrahim, the very famous judge of the Supreme Court, he was a governor, and he developed this Citizen Police Liaison Committee. So they also supported me in my work.
I just want to ask a short question. If you have any numbers of how many paralegals you have trained all over Pakistan, during the last
Ajay,
30 or 40 years.
that was that is so much. You see, I can't even have a number now because there are thousands of people we released from the prison, and then outside even prison, the violence victim every day coming, and then I developed Pakistan's first women and children helpline because because we are not having the communication properly. Otherwise, I should tell you that what kind of things we have developed and how we are gone through with this. and because the LHRLA was working on providing only legal aid, and most of the time I felt frustrated when the victim were coming to me or the survivors. So I was having a problem that I can only provide legal aid, but they were needing a lot of other, you see, like support, specifically with the police, with the shelter, with even renting the house, or financial issues, or medical legal issues. There were several things. And then I thought that I should be doing something on those lines. And finally, in 2000, we thought that we should be having a Pakistan's first children and women helpline. Uh, I have been to many countries, like 72 countries, because of my work. So at that time, I think it was 1980, 97. Swiss government invited me with other three people from Pakistan, two government and two civil society. So on the issue of jails and violence and women, children, so I went there and then I discussed with even the Swiss corporation, which is funding agency. And when we were visiting there, so they told me that what is your dream? So I told them that I really want that we should be having Pakistan's first children and women helpline, where people can call and get all kind of support under one umbrella. And that I then they funded through UNICEF to us, and we developed the helpline, which is called Madadgar. Madadgar is a local name. So Madadgar was then I tried to get uh, a short code number, which was very difficult. Fayyaz Sab know how our system works. So finally, I got a short code 1098. It is the short code number which we got. And this 1098, why 1098? Because our partners in the region, in India and other, like in South Asia, they were mostly having this 1098. So we thought that this 1098 will work because I am pioneering on one of the very important issue in Pakistan, and that was trafficking in women and children. So I released from the prison Bengali and Burmese women who were in prison due to Hadood ordinance. They were victim of trafficking. They were victim of slavery, and I was working with them to support them. So this was one connection where the government thought that because I'm working on the trafficking in women and children, so then the Pakistan Telecommunication Authority, they have given me this 1098 from their board, and that number is still with us, but that helpline is not much working. Maybe 2% of the 98% is not working, but 2% is working. So because of the resources, and there is hardly any international donor who can support you for a regular basis. And the government in Pakistan, the good initiatives are not being replicated by the government or taking the ownership like in other countries. So we are a victim of the government negligence also. So finally, what I was saying that the Madadgar was the Pakistan's first. So it was a national helpline, and it was first helpline, and we were having 1,500 partners in all over the country, and we were developing more. But sorry to say that because of the resources, we initially shut down this, like in COVID, where we should have been working, but we were not working because of the resources. And then now it is maybe working 2 to 5% of that thing. But as far as the legal aid is concerned, because I'm committed to that, so whoever is coming, even without funding, we are still doing that work. And as far as the numbers are concerned, those are in thousands. We were having Pakistan's largest data bank under Madadgar, because we were monitoring 17 newspapers from all over the country, English, Urdu, Sindhi, and also we were having our own data So together we were analyzing data, and in Pakistan, nobody likes the establishment don't like that we should be having a database. So that's why the working for the rights of people is not easy.
Hey, I have a few questions
Yes,
here.
sir.
Um, One is
Hmm.
about the bail money that you mentioned earlier when initially the LHRLA was formed. So, how were you receiving
Yes.
funding? Was it just Abdul Sattar Edie was providing the money through the donations that he was receiving, or was it that you were supported by the CPLC? That's my first question.
Good,
Afterwards, would it be possible
great
to delve
question.
into one of these cases that you worked with?
Yeah, but it's long time. I have to think about it. There are very popular cases. There are hundreds of cases. It might be in some of the Almera we were having the media things which is being reported. But if you go to Pakistan television website, PTV, so they have shown they have developed 12 separate cases. One was the stoning to death case also. So those were all at that time when ED Saab and CPLC were supporting me because this organization LHRLA, Lawyers for Human Rights and Legal Aid, was not developed with the international funding or with any push of any international uh, uh, donor. It was the uh, initiative which I told you that because we thought that we should be working and there was no such avenue, so we developed it. So ED Saab was supporting one of my assistant lawyers' salary. The CPLC was supporting one of another lawyer, his salary, very small one, but it was a salary. And then ED Saab has given me some furniture to put into my office. So, and then regularly, whenever I asked him, at that time, see, you can imagine that time, in 1987 to 89, he was himself coming to deposit the money whenever I asked him. So even on trafficking, I talked to him. I said that I want to work because there are a lot of women in the prison. And that was also the initiative which I have taken. The reason was that I was regularly going to the prison and saw women from Bengali community, for Burmese community, and they were lying and there was nobody to even support them. So I talked to AD Saab, and very one day we were sitting in Saurabh Goat, and I told him, AD Saab, I want to work with these Bengali women and slavery hai ye, and I want to go against slavery. So he said, this is when the world is made by Allah. So from that time, the slavery is there in different forms. So how much you can do? I said, no, whatever you see I can do, I want to do. So that's why I then started this. And if you go to Google and see that trafficking in women and children, you will find most of our reports. And even when you go to Google, so you will find Madadgar's database. Till 2017, we were collecting data for almost 15 years. We were showing through data that what is happening in our country and how people should be supported. And that's why you see a lot of laws, maybe not only because of only the work which we were doing, but there were other very good organizations who were also working. So then we got so many good laws and so many institutions, although they are not working. I'm very critical to those institutions, and I'm very critical about the laws also, which is another separate subject, because I came to know that those special laws are useless in a way. I was doing a project with UN Women in 2018 and 19, and I trained almost in one this project. I trained 1,020 judges, lawyers, prosecutors, and law faculty members, and I was teaching them 25 laws on gender-based violence and violence against women and the UN system. And I was the lone resource person for that. So, and these trainings were in Karachi, Quetta, Dadu, Khairpur, and Rawalpindi. So this was the decision of the UN Women that we want to have in these five cities. And I came to know that 95% people who attended, the judges, session judges, civil judges, senior civil judges, faculty members, law faculty members, prosecutors, lawyers, 95% lawyers still don't know. The judges still don't know about those special laws, which is meant for supporting the victim or the survivors of violence against women and children. So
Okay.
those are some of the issues. You see, I even sometimes I finished my putting, you see, my CV further in 2013 because I'm I'm so much, you see, like into work, my life. So regularly I'm doing the work, and I can't have only one person, you see, like developing my CV.
Right. Um, okay, well, just a quick question here. So, most of the series, the purpose of Deck Talks is actually to be watched like also in Canada, where lots of like international development students, for example, at McGill University, they don't have access to these kind of stories or ideas of these kind of uh projects that are happening all over the world. So I'm wondering if you can briefly debrief us on any one of those cases. I know you mentioned that PTV has 12 separate cases, but any one of those, whether that's the slavery case or whether it's a case related to honor killings or whether it's a case relating to um, domestic abuse, just anyone in particular that stood out to you during your career, that you could perhaps briefly summarize for us what the challenges were, and how it sort of proceeded in Pakistan at the time.
what I'm, I'm what I'm saying that I will try to see take out some clippings or whatever cases you are talking about. But I told you that there was 12 cases which is being reported on PTV. That was also at the same time when I was like one of the case in which the couple got stoning to death sentence, and there were and then we it was not trial by me but some other lawyers, and then later we picked up the case and we went to appeal, and I was at that time very junior, so we asked a very big name, Khalid Ishaq of the Sindh High Court and Supreme Court, my teacher. So they did the appeal in the Sharia court, and then they brought back the case for retrial. So retrial I did, and then that couple was released because in retrial we brought some more evidence which was not taken by the judge and the prosecutor, so they were released. But at that time, this stoning to death case was so popular that I remember I think CNN did the story on this. There were a lot of stories which CNN and BBC did with us, but that was also underground. They came to the district court because at that time there was a very strict martial law. So we were sitting in one, you see, like in the court somewhere, and then they were interviewing me at that time, and they went to see that couple. So that was a very challenging case. But I did a lot of cases of honor killing, trafficking, you name, you see, any, you see, things which is happening against like women and children. So we were dealing with that.
Okay. Um, Currently, right now, what are the sort of, are you finding similar cases that are coming to LHRLA?
Similar cases, it's not,
Okay, you're still receiving similar cases. And is the work still free? Are people still receiving free legal aid or is it fee-based?
it depends because
Okay.
I'm receiving a lot of cases because I have a name in this field. So whoever, even in the government or anywhere or judges, they always say, go to him, whether that pertaining to my work or not, but people are coming regularly because they see a hope somewhere. But my problem is that I am not having much colleagues with me. I'm not having any support to continue this work because they are penniless people. And even if you are spending something in the court, that you have to bear. And we are not having any financial support now because in Pakistan most of the donors are gone because of the policies and because of the FATF. FATF is that if you remember FATF, because of that they have almost most of the organizations are closed. Big organizations. You will not hear much name of even Aurat Foundation or whatever. HRCP is maybe very limitedly working, but there is no financial support for the civil society now in Pakistan, and their registration process is so difficult, re-registration process, and also they are like coming under the revenue board means tax. You have to do a lot of tax work. So instead of doing work, you have to be going to the departments and submitting the reports. So it's very difficult. So that's why, you know, apart from what I'm working,
Right.
I shift myself. I shift myself towards the bar council and bar association, because I remain as a bar council member, provincial bar council member 4 times, 20 years, and then I was elected for the Pakistan Bar Council member. But because these are very conservative mind organizations which are not working very properly, I could not do much because those are the platforms where it's very difficult to work.
Right.
So that is another thing, you see. And I thought that if I then I fought twice the election of High Court Bar President, which I lost because of the reason that the culture is being changed. Now you have to spend almost uh, 3 to 4 crore rupees for 1 year position, and you have to spend a lot of money, which I was not having. I'm having a background. I'm having all those, you see, like paraphernalia. I am not having money which I can spend and win. So
Right.
I like last year one of our Supreme Court bar president, he spent 20 crore to become a president of the Supreme Court bar. You can imagine. And the Pakistan Bar Council member, when I was elected, I did not even spend a single penny, but I became the member of Pakistan Bar Council. But in Punjab at that time, when the People's Party government was there, people were giving to one, like for one vote, it's like Senate vote, one vote, 2 crores of rupees to a provincial bar member. That if you vote for me, I'll give you 2 crores. So that is like the bargaining, the election, corruption, everything is like out of control.
I mean, that's incredibly disappointing to hear, but I guess it does shed light on what the law system looks like currently. Um, but not to get too deep into that, I just want to know if where do you operate? Do you work in urban areas only, or are you
Your
just in
voice is
Karachi?
breaking. Well, when we were working previously, so we were working all over Pakistan. We were having a helpline staff in Lahore, in Peshawar, in Quetta. And I told you that when did this training with UN Women, so Dadu is a rural area. Khairpur is a rural area. So it was like both ways. You see, like, or as far as the honor killing is concerned, uh, uh, there will be a lot of, you see, like material. I have to collect, you see, interviews on honor killing on the web. You can. Achha, I'm saying that we were receiving majority of the cases from the rural areas,
Right.
especially the cases of karokari, honor killing, trafficking. So it was no such, you see, thing that we just worked in the urban settings, but we were developing the gadgets we were using that people can approach us, and we are having a lot of things, you see, like eviction though we want to develop some ways, you see, that where we can reach out to people who are really leading us, because I feel that we are lucky one who got so much education, we got so much support, we are living a good family life, and people are in rotting, you see, in the country, and violence against women and children in every form is growing instead of dying down.
Right. Have you been approached by other lawyers in the areas to follow in your footsteps?
Well, I there are two like uh, aspects. One is that a lot of people thought that's a very lucrative work because I was known in the country. I was having maybe 50 interviews in a month on television, and still a lot of television people regularly come. Drama was made on me, and a lot of things. You see, so they were feeling that it is something very, very important, and people tried. But holding yourself, to be honest with those people, is very difficult. If you have several plans to make money and also do the work, it's not working. So therefore, some fake organizations are being made and new organizations are being made. But I don't see any organization except one or two, because I must tell you another thing. When I was doing study myself to develop this legal aid organization, so I learned that at that time that legal aid is a several types, and you must, if you are studying, you must go through that. That one is a legal aid for status quo. Another legal aid is for development. And I was doing the legal aid with development because we were doing advocacy with the cases. If you go to Madadgar helpline, you will see that the victims are sitting with us and speaking to the media and narrating their story, that what is happening and where are the gaps, where there is no law, if there is a law which is not implemented, what are the roles of the prosecution or the lawyers or the courts. So we were exposing them. So that was my aim. I was not that uh, 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 you can say legal aid for status quo. People are coming and nobody knows. I collect data. I say 1,000 people I help. No, we were picking up cases, some of the cases where we were empowering women, and we were saying that you have to speak out, and they agree on that. If you go to Madadgar, maybe you will find Madadgar link. If not, so you can write to me. I will send you through one of my colleagues. So then you will know that the what kind of, you see, like activity we were doing. It is not, and this is risking your life when you are speaking about, you see, the injustices. Working is different.
Right.
Going to the court and helping people, maybe victims, anti people, the opponents, they might be threatening you or whatever. But if you come out with the media and talk about issues and relate this issue with the overall situation, so it is like threatening to the institution of the status quo. So that was my aim. You see, that was my life. I really want that we should be doing this, and I want to continue this work.
Okay. Um, well, just a quick question there then. Do you know how many clients you have served uh through the inception,
You
since the
know, in
inception of
thousands,
thousands?
Manur, I don't have a number, but we were having number of Madadgar helpline.
Right,
How many people we have done, and that was released regularly, and you will find on the net. I don't have
right.
exactly in front of me, so I can tell you. But if you go to Madadgar helpline, you will find a lot of key things. Data will you will find that Madhya data also, how many in a month or in a year. And as far as before Madhya was made, those were also in thousands which we released from the jail. And I was like every day, if you at that time, if you go to Dawn News or Dawn, which is the the publication, authentic publication. So they will tell you that every day I was reported on the media. And lawyers
Okay.
were very jealous. They were very jealous. And I faced lawyers' brunt also. That is another story. That while working for human rights as a lawyer, you face a lot of, you see, people, status quo people around you.
Okay. I guess we'll move on to the last question then. Um, and it's about what your message is and what your finding is after working all this time, and dealing with all these cases, to the people who support your cause, especially young people.
You know, what my message is that I feel very honored in my life that I've done some work, maybe a little work, but some work, and I feel uh, very great in that. That if you come to my room, if I start like a video, you will see maybe more than 400 awards, full awards, working with ED, working with Dorab Patel, Justice Dorab Patel, working with Fakhruddin Ibrahim, working with Mother Teresa, because I worked with Mother Teresa also. So this is all what I did, and I feel very honored about it. And I have no regrets, frankly speaking. If the system is not providing something, so I'm not like depressed. I'm not depressed at all. I'm not the person to be depressed at all. I try to, because I was heading towards. Let me tell you another key, that apart from this individual legal aid, I did a lot of pro bono cases, collect, class cases. You know, class cases for collective
Lawsuit.
right cases,
Yeah.
and some are GG, and some are still pending in the Supreme Court on violence against women and children, which we
Okay.
have filed at that time in the High Court. In the High Court, there are some cases which are still pending. That can be your you can say that study or maybe case study. The case which is
Right.
which we have filed in the High Court is also very important as far as the criminal justice is concerned. And that was the study which we did through the data of Madadgar, and we find that there are a lot of gaps in the government work, in the medical legal work, or in other things. And then in the Supreme Court, it's on the trafficking, kidnapping of women and children. What I can do, I can send some of the material to you, not maybe tomorrow, day after tomorrow, maybe. You give me 5, 6 days so I can send you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, we'd love to see that material.
Thank you
Professor, you
so
want to say
much,
something?
Yasaf. We are extremely grateful. We'll go to your
These
website
are
also
still
to
pending.
collect some
I'm saying
data.
with the pending cases, you will know that what is our approach towards the issue.
Okay, perfect. Okay, I think we'll wrap it up here then.